Hello, Exiles. Whether you are making your way through the campaign or already blasting maps, you've probably realized by now that there is a huge amount of loot dropping onto the floor. As a new player, or even a semi-vet, all of this loot can be daunting to look at. What to pick up and what to leave behind is a never-ending dilemma for Path of Exile players. In this video, I want to try and help you understand what you should be bringing back to town with you for guaranteed profits. And the sooner you start to do this, the better. Future you will be very happy you watched this video, trust me. So let's get started first by looking at raw currencies. These are everything in this tab here, and all of this stuff you're going to want to scoop up, vacuum up. Don't leave any of this behind. Maybe the only exception here being the scrolls of wisdom. Once you get about as many as I've got here, 450, you can probably start to leave these behind. Another place you can look to see these currencies would be the currency exchange. If you want to see a nice written out list of all the currencies in the game, you can come talk to the currency exchange vendor, and they are all listed here. These are the ones we were just looking at. Got the delirium currencies, breach currencies, expedition, essences, and ritual currencies. While we're here too, let's talk about runes and soul cores. I would always recommend picking up all of these as well. If you wanted to stop picking up runes, you probably could stop picking up runes once you've got about 50 of each kind. You never know what kind of runes or soul cores you're going to want for a future build, so it's a good call to just have nice access amount of them. And on that note as well, rune soul cores, they fit really nicely into the bottom of the currency tab, so that's where I would store them if I were you. The next currencies to talk about would be these guys over here. Artificer's orbs, Arcanist etchers, Armorer's scraps, and Blacksmith whetstones. We'll talk about these real quick because these drop as items as well. So what do I mean by that? Well, find a couple of them here in my dump tab. So this weapon right here, the Superior Expert's Cultist Bow. If you ever see anything labeled as superior, that means that it has a quality to it. Now, these items with quality, you can take to the salvage bench, and they're going to make one of, depending on what it is, they'll make one of these top 3 currencies right here. And you're going to need these, you're going to need a bunch of these later on once you want to start adding quality to your weapons. The Artificer's Orbs, kind of a similar situation. Any item that has sockets on it, you're going to want to bring these back to your base and salvage these as well. You'll get Artificer's Shards. 10 of these will turn into a Artificer's Orb. And you can use these to put sockets onto a weapon. Boom, put a socket on it. Next thing I'll talk about real quick, Waystones, tablets, trial tokens, and logbooks. Everything that I like to keep in this tab here. You're going to want to pick up all of this stuff pretty much forever. Now, the Jin Baryas and the ultimatums, you'll only want to continue to pick up the Jin Baryas with 4 trials. You can see where it says number of trials 4, because these are the ones that are farmable late game. And the inscribed ultimatums, you want to pick up the ones that have number of trials 10. Now the alternative, you can see these ones right here, 7 and 3. These ones, these are for like doing your 3rd ascendancy, and you wouldn't farm these late game. You would only farm the ones that you can go all the way to the end with. Logbooks, you get those from Expedition. Always keep as many of those as you can. And then the maps, obviously, keep as many Waystones as you can. Tablets, always have tablets. You never know what you're going to need. Now, when it comes to the lower tier Waystones, you know, there's Waystones that maybe you don't need anymore, so you're thinking, well, why would I pick those up? Well, what you can do with these is you can sell these. If you need gold for respecking or, you know, gambling, whatever, you can see these Waystones sell for a decent amount. So you can always just sell these and get your gold up. Now, for the juicy part, gear. What kind of gear should you be picking up and bringing back? Well, we already covered you should always pick up everything that is superior, because it's going to have quality on it. And then you should always pick up everything that has sockets, so that you can get the Arcanist or the Artificer's orbs. You should also be picking up all uniques. You should pick up all the uniques that you're finding, because what you can do with the uniques is you can disenchant them and you'll get chance shards. And the chance shards will turn into orbs of chance. Once you have 10 of them, they'll turn into orbs of chance. And you can use these on a normal white item to possibly change it into a unique rarity of that same item. So, you know, if there's some kind of expensive unique that your build needs, that's a good way to get those. If you don't need a unique, then just use it on white heavy belts and gamble for headhunters. That's what I would recommend doing. And then you should also be picking up all the rares that drop on your maps or in your campaign. These rares, 95% of the time, they're going to be trash. And what you do with all the trash ones is you just disenchant them at the vendor for regal shards. You're never going to have enough regal shards. Or regal orbs, rather. What the shards turn into regal orbs. And you'll need regal orbs for the rest of your life. You use these to change magic items into rare items. But the big thing is that you're going to use them later on to change your maps into rare maps, or your waystones rather. You're going to have way better waystone sustain, and you're going to be getting much more loot when you're doing rare waystones rather than magic waystones, yellow instead of blue. After the rares, as far as picking up blues and whites, blues, I would only recommend picking up blues if you need to sell them for gold, or if they drop as a like a higher tier item. Now, I don't have any of them in my stash right now, but I do have some rare versions of what I'm talking about. So this is unidentified tier 4, or we have an unidentified tier 2 hammer right here. So they drop on the ground, and they say they'll have in parentheses like tier 2 or tier 4 when they're laying there on the ground. You want to pick these up because when you identify them, the stats that appear are always going to be like, they have a much higher chance of being really high tier. You see, when we identify that, we get pretty good stats there. Well, not really, but they're high rolls at least. So you always want to pick up any blues that have a good tier to them. You definitely want to pick up the rares, but we're picking up the rares anyways. But any blues are worth checking out as well. You may as well ID them at least. As far as whites go, there's only really 2 reasons to pick up whites. You could pick up a white piece if it's the exact kind of base type that you're looking for, and you enjoy crafting, or if it's the version of a unique that you want and you are planning on using a chance orb on it. For example, like the heavy belts. After that, let's see, jewels. You're going to want to be picking up all the jewels you get. Jewels are very sought after. They go in your passive tree. A lot of the jewels you pick up might be crap, but every now and then, and you probably will pick up jewels that have value at a higher rate that you're going to be picking up pieces of gear that have value. But jewels are a little bit more rare, I guess. But yeah, always pick up all your jewels, bring them back, put them in your stash, ID them, price check them, make sure that they're not worth selling before you get rid of them. Let's see. As far as flasks go, I would pick up all the flasks until you've got 2 that you really like. Once you've got 2 you really like, maybe a couple extra ones situational that you want to hold on to. Maybe you've got some flasks that recharge, have a recharge chance on kill. Maybe you've got some flasks that just recharge passively. Have a couple, but once you're happy with the flasks you've got, I would at that point just only pick up the superior flasks. If you've got a flask tab and you want to store flasks in your stash, don't bother picking up all of them. Just pick up the superior ones, and you can have them for later, future builds, future characters, whatever. Okay, charms. Charms, I get 2 to 3 probably of each kind, and then at that point I would just stop picking them up, honestly. You can hunt for some certain modifiers, but once you get a couple of each kind, yeah, just stop picking them up. There's really no point to just fill your stash with charms. Uncut gems. Gems, obviously always pick up gems to level up your skills. But once your skills are leveled, and if you're getting any gems, that you don't need to level up your skills anymore, just keep like 10 to 15 of them in your stash for maybe future characters or builds. But don't hoard these things. You can only have 500 of them in the stash, and I've filled up on my gems like 3 times already and had to clean it out. So yeah, I've got a bit of a problem. I can't seem to walk past these things without clicking on them. But yeah, you don't need to be picking these things up once your skills are already leveled past that level. Alright, now before I end the video, real quick, I want to show a couple tricks, things I like to do when I'm sorting my dump tabs. Because now that you know everything you should be picking up, your big quad tabs probably look a little bit like this. Now, what I like to start with is using this little search bar down at the bottom. There's a couple things we can type into it to make cleaning out this tab a lot easier. So the first thing I like to do is search for quality. When you search for quality, this will show all the superior items that you picked up, and you can just go ahead and grab all of them out real fast, real easy, and get these out of the way first. These will give you all your crafting mats here, so we want to get these out first. We don't want to accidentally sell these or disenchant these. Always make sure that they're not super good items before you get rid of them. That's a little bit out of the scope of this video, but maybe I could make a future video on how to know the value of an item. So we do quality, and then we're going to do sockets next. Sockets will be the next thing we type in here, and this will just make it a little easier to see where all the items with sockets are, and we can go ahead and grab all of these out real fast and easy too, and salvage these at the salvage bench as well. Okay, now that we have all the items with sockets and quality taken care of, the next thing I like to type in is unique. Go ahead and grab the unique items out so that we can disenchant these into chance shards. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the unique, you probably want to price check it if you've got the price check tool. Just to make sure it's not something super sought after. But if you know that they're not of value, go ahead and disenchant them. Price checker tool, that might be topic for another video, a little out of scope for this one as well. After unique, next thing I like to type in is Waystone. Should have a ton of these if you've got all your map sustain stuff set up correctly. Could maybe go over that in future video as well. Go ahead and grab all your Waystones out, and I get these out just so that they're not getting mixed up with jewelry in the next steps. Yeah, go ahead and grab those.
Hello.
Okay, after Waystones are handled, next thing I tend to do is start going through my rare gear. So the rares that I brought back. Now, this can be the part that's a little tricky because you have to know what rares are. You want to go through them quickly, but you also don't want to miss anything that's maybe worth selling to another player. So this is kind of the hard part that you learn after you've played PoE for a long time. Maybe something I could dive into in another video, but a little tip, you can type things down here like life to find items with life rolls, and you can see if they're high life rolls. Another good one to type in is spirit to see if there's anything with high spirit rolls. Also, you can type in like resistance, see if there's anything with really good res rolls. These are all things that are generally sought after on items. It's a little bit harder to filter certain modifiers for weapons. You kind of just need to go through your weapons one by one. But yeah, you can type things in down here to try and help you find items of value. Or you can also just type in rare. This will highlight all the rare items, and you can just put them all into your inventory and continue, disenchant them, go through them one by one. Have another spot where you put ones that you want to kind of check out again later. Maybe you think they're of value, that kind of stuff. Okay. Now all of the rares have been taken care of at this point. There's really only small stuff left. But I like to go ahead and pull out all the belts. The rings. Highlights a couple other things too when you do rings. It's a little annoying, but all the amulets. Okay. And I am lazy, so what I do is I put all my rings, amulets, and belts into a spot where I can mess with them later. And then at this point, with all the small stuff left, I just grab all of it. And you can sort it into your stash from here. Hopefully this video helps you guys understand what you should be picking up and what you should be leaving on the floor. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, it would mean a lot to me if you hit the thumbs up and like the video. If you have any ideas for future content you would like to see concerning Path of Exile 2, let me know in the comments. And subscribe to not miss out on my next video. Peace.